Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of WCM's Outdoor Hospitality Update. And I'm Ben Quiggle with my co host, Mike Gast. And we're just getting closer to Christmas. It's just incredible up here in northern Michigan. It's, not really snowy. It's kind of actually in the 40s today, which is kind of warm, which is nice. Nowhere near where Mike Gast is in Hawaii, probably. What are the temperatures like in Hawaii, Mike?
It's always 82. It's just
It's always
just
82.
lock that into your brain. It's always 82.
Okay. And then our guest today is Nathan Self, the owner of Timberline Glamping Company. And Nathan, just tell us a little bit about yourself. And obviously, you co-own the park with your wife, correct?
Yeah, that's right. So my wife and I started Timberline Glamping Company about 4 years, almost 5 years ago, and we've seen it grow. And she would have loved to have been here today, but she's busy. So yeah,
You guys have kids, right? One or
we
two
do.
kids?
Yeah, we do. We have two girls,
All right.
7 and
Okay.
10, and they are just getting out of school. So
Can,
yeah,
can you just describe to us a little bit what Timberline Glamping Company is? I guess I
absolutely.
know I met you out at the glamping show and you had told me, but I'm older and I forget things. So,
No, it's kind of right. Yeah. So, Timberline Glamping Company, we are not your traditional glamping company. What we do is we partner with either local, state, or private campgrounds, and we operate within those campgrounds. We bring kind of new life and a new way for folks to get outside and folks to get out camping, and it provides additional revenue streams for the parks, which they love, and it allows us to scale more quickly. So,
all right. And do you own your own parks too?
so we do not. We all of our the way that we structure our business is we partner with additional parks. That's the way we've gone about doing this business. We have looked into buying our own parks, and and I'm not going to say it's never going to happen. It's just not something like it's not the current business model. We are a good part. Like we've developed good partnerships, and it helps struggling parks out, or parks that are thriving, bringing in a new clientele, which they really like as well. So,
So
yeah.
Nathan, how many locations do you have now on the franchise side?
Yeah, absolutely. So Rebecca and myself, we have two locations. But from the franchise side, we've actually on Friday we just signed up our seventh franchisee, and so those locations are going to be. We haven't announced all of them just yet. But they're very close to being announced. We kind of wait till all the contracts are kind of signed and inked and dotted, and before we go into that. But we have some of those that we can share with you guys today. So one will be right up here on Lake Lanier, where our main location, where we started. It's going to be 25 minutes away from our main location. We have enough supply and demand that we need more. And then the other one is going to be new for us. It's going to be down in Florida, with Florida State Parks at Hillsborough State Park.
So are these all these new locations, are they existing and operating now, or are they being built?
The parks themselves are existing and in operation fully, and we are building the glamping side of things. They'll be opened up on March 1st is the opening date for both of those parks. For the one here on Lake Lanier, we are having to do a whole infrastructure run, so bringing in power to existing sites that did not have power. The Florida State Park, down in Hillsborough River, that one has all the infrastructure there, and we just have to go in and reutilize the space and build it out for what we do. And add the glamping tents, add all the platforms and everything else.
So are all your facilities glamping specific, or are they multi-use? Do they have RV sites too?
Yeah, so every single one of our facilities, we really believe that it does a park good to mend the two worlds. We never want to overtake a traditional RV park, because that need, obviously, as you guys know, is exploding and is there. What we do is we'd like to come in and complement an existing campground. So we try, like, our goal is not to take over no more than 10% of the available sites. So that's kind of our goal when we go into a new park. So
So as far as the facility goes, the tents, the platforms, the
yeah,
infrastructure, is that your cost or the
yeah,
facility's cost?
that is all of our costs. So we'll come in and put all of that in. So it's no cost to the actual park itself. We're really there to complement what the park already has available. And we take on that financial burden. We take on all advertising, cleaning, like everything. So to the park itself, it's none of the day-to-day they have to worry about. They enjoy getting a check every month. And that's really the crux of it all is, we want to be no hassle to the parks and just really complement and partner with parks.
Yeah. I guess what does that look like on the private park side? I know you
Mhm.
do a lot of public parks. Have you seen a lot of interest from private park owners looking for something like this?
Yeah, we're talking with private parks right now. What we have on staff here at Timberline Glamping is we have a number of different location scouts, and they'll go out and start that conversation with private parks,
Mhm.
and with state campgrounds, with forestry, just you name it. And we'll go in, Rebecca and I, we'll come in and we'll visit your park, and we'll just do an assessment of it and say, hey, how can we help you to the park? How can we help you bring in additional revenue, bring in another cash flow? And so I just got back from last week. I was in Texas, in Dallas, like the Dallas Fort Worth area,
Mhm.
looking at a park over there, and it looked very promising. There are a couple roadblocks, and that's what we do. We come in and we say, okay, these are the roadblocks, and let's look at a cost, and see if it's worth exploring. While I was there, Rebecca was meeting with a private park right outside of Nashville. So we divide and conquer sometimes, and so yeah, we cover the gamut for sure.
So how does it work with the reservation systems for the consumer? Do you work with the existing reservation system the campground may have?
Yeah, so what we do is, because to be able to be no burden to the park, what they'll do from their side of things, they'll block off a season, or they'll block off a agreed amount of time from their reservation, so no one else can go on and book that page. Then what we do, we have the reservation system in house, so that way, if someone calls and needs to cancel or change their glamping reservation, they don't have to call the park, and we don't have to worry the park with that kind of back and forth. We can take care of it all from our own booking software, and so it works out quite well. The park, at the beginning of every month, they get a complete breakdown of who's going to be in their park on which days, and it gives them all their information, email, phone number, home address. The important one was the telephone number. In case something happens, you need to know who's in your park, and so we provide all that information to the parks.
Now you mentioned
Wow.
the cleaning of the cleaning of the facilities. How does that work? I mean, you got people that are on the campground that you paying to do that?
We do, yeah. So we truly, whenever we say we want to be no burden to the park, that's what we mean. And there are even times where our staff will help a campground out with their front desk, or their check-in process, stuff like that. But from a day-to-day aspect, from a day-to-day, what it looks like, our staff come in at 10:30. Checkout is at 11 for us at every single park, and check-in is at 3. And so they have the 4-hour window. So they'll come in at 10:30, they'll huddle, get the assignments for that day, and then they'll clean, and then they'll be out by 2:30, something like that. And so we have a really good system. We take care of all the laundry. We take care of everything. Park doesn't. They really, I mean, they know that we're there because people will come and say, "What are all these glamping tents? How can I reserve them?" But that's the extent of them knowing that we're there. Any kind of issues that our guests might have, they contact us, or the franchisee. Contact the Timberline Glamping team, and if there is an issue that we need to address from a park side, we're that contact with the park, and so we keep it in house, and pretty fluid situation.
Yeah. What's it like owning, running these multiple locations at the same time? I guess how do you manage, that as a team, I guess, making sure everybody has a good experience?
Yeah, we have about 17 people on staff right now.
Mm.
And so we're a growing company. And it's been a very, like, we have or each location will either have its own franchisee, who is local to that area,
Mhm.
or in our situation, we have campground managers. And so our staff will have a whole management crew, that handle that guest experience, and we're really able to be personal with our guests, because we have staff there, and it's a it's it flows really well.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, what's the park? We've been talking with park owners all year about the employee side. Getting employees. Has that been challenging for you at Timberline? Just finding people to do like the cleaning and different things.
It is not. I know that. Trust me, I meet with a group of small business owners here in the county that I live in, and that's been the big topic of all of our conversations is, how are you getting staff? And we believe in culture. Like, we develop a community culture, like, within our organization. We treat them like family. We love our staff. We love on them. Like, we try to do what we can to give back to our staff, because they are the face of our company, and we know that, and we understand that. We try to plan little events, things like that, to make it just a fun atmosphere. And they've all bought into our vision, and that's what we're seeing. So that we have not seen a hiring shortage. In fact, we actually we can't take everybody, and so so we we haven't seen it, and I know that we're lucky. We're very blessed. So.
Yeah.
So how does
Yeah.
it work with other franchising companies? I know I've got a little bit of experience with KOA.
Mhm.
Are you available to a current KOA campground or any other chain?
We are, yeah. So we are. So what we would do is we would come in and again take a look at your campground, what your needs are. Again, we're not looking to take over an entire campground. We're looking for between 4 and 6 sites, and we really see that that's a very good starting out number, for a franchisee. So when we're looking for parks to partner with, that's really all we're looking for is 4 to 6 of your sites, and we'll come in and do what we do, and we have a great advertising stream. Currently, currently we see about like around 28 to 35,000 visitors to our booking page every single month, of which, I mean, right now they can only book one of the two locations, and so we definitely have a supply and demand problem. We have an amazing social media presence, of actual users of our product. we don't look to grow our numbers like just to grow numbers. We're looking for actual customers. And so yeah, we're always looking for new parks, and yeah.
So what's the facility itself like? What kind of materials are you using? Is it a standardized tent, or do they have options?
So they do have options. So every single site is going to be different, and what we'll do is we'll go in and look at the sites that are available, and we will determine. We'll give the recommendations of what we would put in this site. So we have everything from bell tents to safari tents, all different sizes. We have geodesic domes. We have trailers like your traditional travel trailer that we've converted, where it looks older on the outside but looks like a Joanna Games farmhouse on the inside, and people really love that. And so we have a couple different options whenever it comes to, because not all customers are going to be the exact same, and so we want to be able to appeal to everybody.
And do you retain ownership of that, of the tent itself?
We do, yes, sir.
Okay.
So in our locations, in our franchise locations, our franchisee would be the owner of that accommodation. We will point them in the right direction. It's a whole kit. So when they join when they become a franchisee, we deliver. If you have 4 sites, you'll get 4 of these kits, A to Z, everything that you'll need from top to bottom, to run a successful glamping operation. So, and we don't go anywhere. We're still here. We're asking questions. We're meeting multiple times a month to talk about what's working at your site, and what we can do to make things better, different things like that.
So one of the challenges of glamping has always been defining this for the consumer, because there's different expectations on everybody's part when they go glamping, and their first glamping experience may be different than their second glamping experience. How do you meet those expectations, or at least control the expectations of the glamper?
Yeah, it comes down to communication. I think that we do a great job on our social media platforms. We never, ever, ever, we never stage a photo, period. Like, I think staging photos just brings up false expectations. And why would you want to do that to a guest experience? And so what you see on our social media platforms is what you're showing up to. Standardization is a really key when it comes to customer experience. Our customers will know that they can show up to our Lake Lanier location, our Augusta location, or Texas, Florida, whatever it is. They know if they're showing up to one, that's what they can expect from the other one. And so standardization is the key to our franchisees. So yeah, we just set those proper expectations.
So any worry that you're going to have a breakout as far as a franchisee goes, who wants to add a whole bunch of fancy experience that might raise the bar?
Yeah, I think that it could happen. It is all like, what we want to do is we want to keep the lines of communication open with our franchisees. We, just like any good franchise company, you do have a set of standards and rules that you need to adhere to. We have district managers set in place that will make routine visits to each of the parks to make sure that those standards are being met. Because at the end of the day, we need to protect the Timberline Glamping brand. But it comes down to it really comes down to interviewing potential franchisees. Like, we plainly put the vision out there, and that's something that they're buying into, the vision of Timberline Glamping, and that's part of that, keeping those standards in place. That doesn't mean to say that, hey, one of the franchisee A is going to have a really good idea, and we're just going to say, no, it's not something that we've ever done before. No, it's going to be a conversation that we're going to talk about. There are things that look good on the outside, but maybe we've tried it. We've been doing this for a while, and it looks good on the outside, but just historically, it's not as, there's issues, and so we'll talk through those things. So
yeah, I guess for private park operators, I guess what what sets you apart from maybe them trying to do it on their own, I guess? Why?
Yeah, and there's private park owners can definitely do this on their own. We are going to give you the head start. I mean, we've been in this industry. We know things. We know things are going to cost you money that you think will be good, but it's not going to be good. We're gonna jump past all those issues, and we have a tried, proven, successful formula. We and that's why you would join a Timberline Glamping franchise. So
Okay. What's
yeah.
what's the franchise fee structure look like? Is it like a certain percentage of whatever's made, or?
Yeah, it is. So we have an it dep it depends on it depends on the situation. So we have two different situations. If you're a private campground owner, you're going to pay less. Period. Like that's just it. If you want a Timberline Glamping franchise to come into your location, and so that you don't have to deal with it, and you want one of our franchisees to come into your location, that's great. You'll get a check from them every single month. So there's a couple different ways, but the for a typical franchisee, it's a $40,000 initial franchise fee with a 10% royalty off of the gross. For a private campground, you already have everything in place. Your franchise fee goes down. It's a $20,000 initial fee, and your overall percentage is 6%. And there's reasonings that behind that, and we can talk through it. Yeah. So,
Okay. All right. Yeah. I know when, I guess, what are you seeing in the glamping industry just in general? I guess obviously you were at the glamping show. It
mhm.
seems like there's quite a bit of energy, and I mean, I was at the show. There was just tons of people looking to start parks and engaged about, they're either in, starting a park, or they have the dream of starting a park. I guess what's your outlook for the glamping industry? I guess what are you seeing? Are you getting tons of inquiries from people looking to start their own parks?
I mean, yeah, I mean, yeah. So what we've seen a lot of private, like agro-tourism deals that have been reaching out lately.
Yeah.
So glamping in general is going to cross-platform a number of different areas. Like we'll have the traditional RV park, right? And then
Hmm.
we'll have this whole other agro-tourism portion of the deal. Like there's a number of different. I mean, it's an exciting. Everybody who I mean, if you're listening to this, like that glamping is on the rise. I mean, we're at a $5 billion industry right now that's set to be at 25 billion in the next 4 years, 3 years,
Hmm.
and that's exciting. And so it is a lot of. I mean, people look at the dollar signs and they're like, oh, I can just set up, you know, and I wish it was that easy. It's not. I wish that I wish that we could have only spent $40,000 to know what we know now. That would have been great. That would have been amazing. We did not. And so there's a lot of resources. If not me, there's plenty of others. There's other resources out there. I go back to the American Glamping Association. We are members, and that's my biggest encouragement to people is like get in and find your community within the glamping space, and because you need to be able to ask questions. That is key, is finding that community and asking those questions. It's going to save you a lot of time and money.
So
Yeah.
is a glamper a traditional camper in your experience? Is this somebody new that we'd never seen before?
That's what's key is it is something new. Like it is someone new, right? So I love traditional campers. My wife and I, we were traditional campers. We still are traditional campers. Both in the RV world, and my wife loves to backpack. I mean, that like she likes to set up her tent, and that's her happy space. So what we're seeing is a mix of two types of individuals. It's a lot of families who one person would love to go camping. They grew up camping, and they miss that they are not able to do that with their whole family, and so they'll talk the other spouse into trying out the glamping thing, because you're getting the traditional camping experience on the outside of the tent. It's just inside the tent, you're just way more comfortable.
Mhm.
Another thing that we're seeing is people who have camped for the majority of their lives, and they're just getting to the point where they can no longer go out and set up camp. This would be the baby boomer, like my grandparents, like they loved camping. Now they can't go out and set everything up. They just can't. That's just not in their wheelhouse. And so this has provided a space for those folks to come out and be more comfortable. Maybe their kids have their own RV and they're pulling up right beside. You have the glamping space and the kids in their RV, and they're doing this deal together. And so we see a lot of that. The majority of our guests are families. That's just it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you do about the plumbing when
Mhm.
you come into a location, especially those ones you talked about that aren't traditional campgrounds? You've got to have a bathhouse. You've got to have
Right.
facilities somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have no, like, if a campground or a site has full plumbing, that's awesome. We can put a bathhouse inside the tent right there. Like, we can do that. But if they don't, it's fine. If there is a bathhouse, we will utilize that bathhouse, apply a fresh coat of paint if it needs it, make it a little bit more glamorous, and our clientele, they love it. Like, I mean, they're only there for 1 to 2 days. Like, that's the typical reservation. And
Hmm.
so we haven't seen any drop off. Every now and then we'll say, "Man, I wish that y'all had ensuite bathrooms." Well, we don't. We there, whenever there are people out, or there are glamping operations out there that do, and we will that's we point them to people all the time. I'm not afraid that I'm going to lose a customer. I would like for them to experience every single bit of it. And if it's not with us, like, hey, let's get them somewhere else that does. Like, so.
Yeah. You had mentioned the experiential part of like glamping. I guess this kind of gives like park owners, the chance to maybe allow you guys to create those experiences, and they can focus, I guess, on the other portions of the park, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, uh, that's what's been the fun part is campground managers that we've worked with. When we first come in, they're like, "I'm not really sure how this is going to work," but then 2 months go by and they're like, "This is amazing. Like, y'all don't need us at all." And we're like, "Yeah, we tried to tell you." And so that, I mean, that's really what we want. Is we want to not be a burden to the parks and their staff. We want to complement the park. We want to bring in new customers. I mean, a lot of these customers that we're bringing in, guess what? It's like it's like the trial period. Like, "Hey, I don't know that we can go camping. Let's try this glamping thing out." And it goes good, and then guess what happens? They go out and buy an RV, and then they're in the campground right next to the deals. They're bringing their friends who don't know if they wanna do a whole RV type deal, and they're in their RV, and now their friends are in the, like, it's a whole, you get to see these circles that that happen. So yeah, um, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess on the franchisee side, what spurred the idea to franchise it? I guess, was it spurred by you guys, or were people just approaching you like, "Hey, we'd love to do this on our own," I guess.
Yeah, it was a mix, really. So Rebecca and I, we had a crossroads. We have way too much demand than we had supply, so we knew that we needed to grow. It was bound to happen. It needed to happen, and the crossroads was, hey. do we just continue to go out and get new locations and put a whole staff into place, get a campground manager, put them in place, and grow that way? That's the traditional route, right? That's the way that normal companies grow. Or the franchise side of things, like what if there's a world where we got to help other families accomplish the same thing that we've accomplished without having to go through the 4 years of headaches that we went through. And we are mission forward type thinking people. Like we're like, hey, we financially, it would be better if we went the other route and just kept opening up our like sites. But we decided, I think we feel a lot better about helping other families, and so that's what we've done. And if you look at our franchisee list, it's riddled like with families looking for just their next step in life. A lot of like the family that signed up on Friday, military family, looking to retire from the military. Franchisee number 3 that's going to be in Dawson, like the location that we had talked about earlier. Military family. He's been flying jets for years, and he's looking to get off the road and stop flying so much. And this is his next step. And we're seeing nurses that are just burnt out. Like we all know this climate that we're in. Nurses, like healthcare workers, are getting burnt out. We're seeing a lot of those filter in as franchisees. So,
yeah.
So what are your and Rebecca's backgrounds, Nathan? Where do you guys come from?
Yeah, so totally different ends of the country. So Rebecca was born and raised in the Oregon, in the Portland area, and I was born and raised in Jacksonville Beach, Florida. I went to work out of college. I went to work in the oil and gas and Department of Defense industries, respectively, and I got to travel all over the world and I was in technology. And so, and then Rebecca, she has her master's in teaching, early childhood education. And before that, while she was getting her master's, she worked for lawyers as a paralegal for 7 or 8 years. So really good at contract law, which comes in handy. And so that's where we came from. It's funny how our backgrounds prepared us for what we're doing now, because I mean, at my height of my travel, I spent over 300 nights in a hotel.
Wow.
Like going and camping just wasn't on my radar, to be honest. Like Rebecca loves to backpack camp, like she loves to camp. And I went camping whenever I was a kid and when I was a teenager and even in school. But then once I became a professional, I spent so much time in hotels that I did not want to, I didn't want to go camping. And this beautiful thing merged. And when I was over in the UK, that was my first introduction. I told Rebecca, I was like, hey, we need to find a place like this to go camping. And we never could. And then finally she was like, I'm just going to start it. And I was like, let's do that. And so that was our background.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. I think when I went to the glamping show, and you probably saw this, Nathan. Just the backgrounds. Obviously, you have a pretty neat background, but just the backgrounds of people in the glamping industry, and even like coming into the traditional campground industry, it's just amazing where they're coming from. I know that there's one park in South Carolina that's operated by a woman who used to work at NASA, and I met somebody who has a husband who is a best-selling author, and they decided to get into glamping, and it's just amazing the different types of people you meet. So.
It absolutely is. I mean, I think that's one of the, like, as a franchisor, that's one of the funnest things that we're seeing. We have a number of people from all different backgrounds. I think our company summer and Christmas parties, where we bring in all the franchisees to talk, that's going to be amazing conversations, because we're bringing in people from all different walks of life. a lot of corporate backgrounds, medical profession, obviously military, and we're building this family, and that's really what we're doing here at Timberline Glamping. We want to build a family of franchisees, and we want to encourage each other and watch each other grow. I sat down with someone. He asked me what my 5-year goal was for this company, and I said, and this is a very distinguished, like successful guy, and I said, hey, I'm not trying to tear down anything you've done because you've built generational wealth, but I would love to sit down here in a couple of years and just tell you, hey, we have X amount of franchisees that are all operating 12 sites, and they've broken the $1 million a year mark. That'd be great. That's the story we want to tell. Is we want to see other families. We want to see other families outshine us, and we just want to help along the way.
So every company has annual goals. What's the goal for your company in 2022? How big are you going to grow?
Yeah, so we have from the franchise side, we would like to add an additional 10 franchisees to the current 7 that we had in year 1. And so that's from a franchise side. From the Timberline Glamping mothership side, we went from 11 sites that we had that were at about $650,000 in revenue. We're growing that to about 22 sites in our window. So we'd like to keep that same pace. We believe that we can, and
well, that's great. Yeah. Well, I think it's about time to wrap up. My daughter actually just walked into the room, so
That's usually our sign to leave.
I think she's telling me that it's time to go. But thanks, Nathan. It was great learning about your company and about the different things that you guys are doing. And I know it was great meeting you at the glamping show. And our audience, this will be the last show of the year. We're going to come back next year in January. I think we have some things that we're going to be lining up and just some different content for the show. And so thanks for watching in 2021. And hopefully everyone has a good holiday season. So
happy holidays, everybody. Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays. Yep.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Thanks.